Hey everyone, hope you're doing well today. My name is Nate, and today we're going to learn what mist dyeing is. So we're going to go over what it is a little bit and how to do it. It's a little bit different than your normal tie-dye. So like with your normal tie-dye, you're going to be mixing your dyes into liquid, or with mist dye, we're going to be using a sprayer, and we're going to keep the dye as a powder, and we're going to spray this water over the top of it, and then it's going to melt into the shirt, and then it's going to be dyed that way. So in order to do mist dyeing, you're going to need some sort of sprayer. So I have this 2-gallon DeWalt sprayer. I've had this for many years. It has a it has a brass nozzle on the end of this. This thing has worked great. It also works for hot water irrigation. Hot water irrigation is a form of mist dyeing as well. The only difference between the two is with hot water irrigation, you're going to be heating up the water to 160 degrees Fahrenheit, and then you're going to spray it on it. And by doing that, the dye sets instantly, so you don't have to wait. We're mist dyeing, we're going to just spray it on it. We're going to let it sit till tomorrow, and then we're going to wash it out. I don't have the ability to heat up the water at the moment here, so we're just using regular temperature water, room temperature water, and it's going to work just fine. So to get started, you're going to need a white cotton shirt, just like with any other form of tie-dye, and you're going to want to wash it. So I've already washed this. Just wash it on the normal cycle with normal detergent, and that'll be good to go. And then I have also prepped this in soda ash. You don't have to prep it in soda ash for this. You can do, there's multiple ways to do this. You do have to use soda ash, but it can be put on at different stages in this. And so if you want to prep this in soda ash, go ahead and prep it. If you don't know how to do that, check out my video, What is Soda Ash? And that'll show you how to prep the shirt in soda ash. If you don't want to prep it in soda ash, after we tie it, what we end up doing is we put the soda ash directly on the shirt, and then we put the dye on top of the soda ash, and then we mist it in. So I'll explain more of that once we get to that first. But I think I've pretty much gone over what mist dyeing is. So now we're going to do it. So this shirt is prepped. I'm going to tie this up. So I'm going to put this down, get this out of the way. And I'm going to tie this shirt right here. So I always turn my shirts inside out. This definitely helps with the mist dyeing and with ice dyeing. Since we're working with powdered dye, sometimes the powder kind of strays and goes to places where we don't really want it to go, and it can be in such small amounts that when you turn the shirt inside out, you can't see it. It's going to hide it. You'll if it was the other way around, you would see those spots, where this tends to hide it a little better. So I like to turn all my shirts inside out. Definitely helps with that. And then smooth out all of your wrinkles. This is really important, especially with the mist dyeing and with ice dyeing. What ends up happening is if your wrinkles are not all taken out like this, then the dye has a harder time transferring from one side to the other. And so you may end up getting spots that don't get dye on the other side, and we don't want that to happen. So we want to make sure everything is smooth, everything is flat, it's level from side to side. So we're good like that. And I'm going to fold this in half. So I'm going to do that just by finding the middle here on both sides and pinching and making sure to get the collar and pulling away and lifting straight up. And then I'll adjust a little bit to make sure my my sides are lined up, and drop it down here, and then fix all of my seams. Sometimes it's not perfect, so you want to make sure all of that is fixed. Got that fixed right there. And then get all your wrinkles out again. Smooth everything out, so we're good to go. So I'm going to do a pleat down the center and then a scrunch for the rest of this. I have a video, actually my video how to tie-dye goes over this same pattern, and so I'm going to make this pattern with the mist dyeing as well, because my how to tie-dye video is just your normal liquid dye video, which is how traditional tie-dye is done. And there's so many different ways to tie-dye that I have decided to make a video with the mist dyeing with this pattern, with the liquid dyeing with this pattern, and then I'm also going to have a video with ice dyeing with this pattern. And they're all going to be done with different colors, but it'll be the same pattern, so you'll get to see the difference in all of that. Normally I don't tie all the same pattern for each one because they can come out drastically different. And I have a style that I like, and I have not been making the ice dyes or the hot water irrigation and mist dyes for a while. I've been doing the liquid dyeing because you can get more saturation with the liquid dye. It does take longer. So if you're doing hot water irrigation, there is somebody on Facebook. I forgot what he's changed his group name to, but at one point it used to be called the 1 hour tie-dye, and you can make a shirt in 1 hour with hot water irrigation. So if you are doing hot water irrigation, if you're quick at tying right here, what you'll want to do is you're going to want to get your water up to 160 degrees. And if you don't have a thermometer and you're not any good at measuring, or if you just don't have the ability to measure the temperature of your water, what you can do is the hot part of the faucet in most houses gets to be about 110 degrees or so. And so by doing that, you can take some boiling water, and then you can take some 110 degree water and mix those half and half. And you're going to end up with around 160 degree water. And so that if you're wanting to do hot water irrigation, that is how you get your water to the right temperature without using a thermometer. So we're just going to use regular temperature water. I've got water in this already, so it's room temperature. I don't know, it's been in there a while, so it's not going to be hot. So what I'll be doing with that is we're going to spray it, and then it's going to sit for a day, just like you do with normal tie-dye. It does need to batch. So batching is dependent on temperature. So the hotter it gets, the faster it sets. But once you get over 160 degrees, you can start to burn the colors out, and you end up getting faded looks. So you need to be careful with that. Don't use boiling water. It's too hot. You want cooler water. You still want really hot water, but it needs to be 160 degrees if you're doing the hot water irrigation method. All right, so I'm about done putting rubber bands on this. Sorry if you're following along and I haven't explained any of this part. I have some videos explaining how to do both these folds. So this is the pleat and this is the Rorschach scrunch. And so it's a two-part tie. So just the pleat and the scrunch folded in half. Let's see, I kind of want to get, yeah, right there's good. And then my how to tie-dye video as well also goes over this. I think I explain how to tie it. I'm pretty sure I do. So if you want to check that out. All right, so we now have it tied. Now we're going to get to adding dye. Okay, so the dye is mixed with soda ash already. I've already done this. You're going to mix the soda ash at a ratio of anywhere from 1 part soda ash to 1 part dye, all the way up to 6 parts soda ash to 1 part dye. It's really up to you what ratio you do. Most kind of settle somewhere at a 3 to 1 or a 4 to 1, and that's soda ash to dye, and that is mixing them in. And so like this right here, this says mixed dyes, all colors. And so like a lot of times when I was doing hot water irrigation to begin with, I didn't have a towel down first, and I was losing a lot of dye down to the bottom, and I was actually saving that and putting it in here and reusing that. And it's a mixture of all my colors. And so this is really just it could be any color. It's kind of a brownish color. Sometimes it's black, but then like if I ice dye with it or something like that, I can get some reds and some blues and purples and all kinds of different colors with this. But with this, so what we're going to do is we're going to put soda ash on this first. So we're going to take the soda ash. Even if you've prepped it, if you've prepped it in soda ash, you don't have to do this. I do like to add a little bit of extra soda ash just in case, because sometimes the soda ash will wash away as you're spraying this with water. And so you'll want to put a good amount on it. So if you did not prep it in soda ash beforehand, you'll definitely want to use quite a bit here. So as you can see, we've got quite a bit on there. So we're just going to take a plastic spoon to put our dye on here. And it's going to go straight from the container. So because I did the split between the two patterns, I'm going to put some black right along that line right there. So just take a little bit in the scoop and run the spoon in line. And just kind of drop some right on the line right there. So that's going to be our dark separation between the two. I always put my lids back because I do not want to spill any of those. There's so many different patterns that you can use with this method too, so you don't have to tie what I'm tying. You can have a spiral, you can have all kinds of stuff. Everything's going to give you different methods, so you can just follow this method just to kind of figure out how to use the mist dyeing and the hot water irrigation. But you can add color on here any way you want. You can do there's an unlimited amount of possibilities here. So I think I'm going to make a gradient here. I was trying to decide what I wanted to do, and I don't quite know what some of these colors are here. I did not label them properly, it looks like, but we will figure this out. Okay, so with doing mist dyeing, you're going to get kind of a watercolor effect, and your colors will blend. So what I'm going to do is, this is violet, as it says on my thing. So this is a purple. So I'm going to lay purple down first. And then there's one that was over here that was labeled turquoise. Here it is. That is a blue, mainly blue. So what we're going to do is overlap the colors a little bit. That way that they blend. And we'll get a nice blending between those two colors there. And I do not think I have a... Wait, is this green? No, it says yellow. It doesn't look like I have any greens, but I do have yellow. And yellow mixed with blue will make green. So you can overlap your colors here. Honestly, this almost looks like it might be green in here, and I have it labeled wrong. So if that's the case, I do have this one here that I 100% know is yellow. See how that looks a little brighter there? So I think I might have put too much green, but we shall be okay. This being tie-dye, we're not trying to be completely perfect. We want to be close, but we are just a couple of humans, and we are not perfect. And in that is our perfection. To be imperfect is to be perfect. Okay, so now we're going to go with the next color. I got red in here somewhere. Is that red? I don't know. It says orange. There's one, this one right here. It says red stock. So we're going to drop red down there at the very bottom. So we got a nice little fade from red to orange to yellow to green to blue to purple. And they're overlapping all the colors next to them. So that'll give us a little gradient fade. And then over here, you know what? We're going to do the same thing. Why not? Why not? So we're going to start. Green, yellow, or should I go yellow, green? I'll go yellow, green. Okay, so we're going to start with, instead of going gradient this way, we're going to go gradient this way. So I got just a little bit of yellow in here. So we're just going to go ahead and put the rest of that yellow in there. There we go. That's all of it. See how it kind of spread out here. So that is going to blend with the green that I put down. If this is green, I know it says yellow, but it looks a little darker, so this could be a green. There was a time I wasn't labeling my colors as like, I know it's in here. Shh. Yeah. Good luck with that, buddy. Yeah, okay. So now we got some green. Go with the turquoise. I even got one over there that says sky blue, because this is, whoops, just dumped all that out. Seems to move pretty quickly there. That was all the turquoise I had. So I was just like, oh, I'll just use all this. I haven't used these colors in a while, so I honestly don't know how well they will work. Dye does get old over time. Pretty sure this blue right here is pretty, well, I don't know. It doesn't look like the color it says. Maybe I put a different color in there. We shall see. I'm just kind of going with the colors and showing y'all how to do this. And at the end, we shall all see how it looks. I'm mostly a liquid dyer now. This was my main form of dyeing for quite a while. Like this a whole year, maybe 2 years almost. I dyed like this pretty much exclusive because I did not want a liquid dye because this can actually be done quite a bit faster. So by doing hot water irrigation, once we do this, if you have your water heated up already, then as soon as we are done with this, you can start adding your hot water over to the top, and once it all melts, it's done. But we may have to flip it over and dye the other side. We may not. It's kind of, I don't know. Usually you'll get better color if you do that. So but you don't always have to. It's just kind of, yeah, like different patterns, sure. Because especially like if you fold as many times as we did here, we may need to just because of those folds. So yeah. Oh, that's right. I don't have any more yellow for right there. It's mixed. So that is our color. So now we are going to spray this. If you're doing hot water irrigation, need your water to be 160 degrees at this point. So if you have the right sprayer, not all sprayers can handle that heat. So that's why I've got this right here. This can take heat. It's got a metal tip on the end. So all I do is just pump it up over here. Gives it some good pressure. So we're actually going to give it quite a bit of pressure. Okay. And then come over to see the camera, see if I can see how far away the nozzle is or not. Is the nozzle even on camera? It is not. Okay. I'm just going to back this camera up just a little bit. Even that's still too close. Okay, so I'm going to back up. Okay, right there should be, kind of see about how far. Actually, you even need to go more. So what I'm going to do, tilt camera up there, and you can see our dye station. Okay. So you see how far up I'm holding the nozzle? I'm up here almost a foot or so. And I may even go up a bit higher. So you're going to want to spray, and just a nice little even spray. If you get too close, you can get too much water built up in one spot. But you're just going to want to slowly go over all of it. Let it melt into there. You don't want a strong spray. And so you can even let this sit, kind of absorb into there a little bit. And then you're going to come back and spray. If you want some spots to have maybe a little bit more bleed than others, then yeah, you can most definitely put more water in those spots. But you're going to want it not to build up too much. If it builds up too much, it's going to drip off. So you want just a nice, good, even spray. And you're going to go over this quite a bit. So you're going to spray, let it sit, spray, let it sit, and we're just going to keep on doing this. So you can see how our color is showing, and yep, I can see that color was definitely green, even though it was labeled as being yellow. It was not yellow, but you know, it happens. Make sure you label your colors properly so that you're using the right ones. If you can't quite tell just from looking at them, because they're not always the color that they say they are. And so you can get a little closer, you get farther away. Once it starts to absorb into it, you can get a little bit closer. The more you put on at one time, the more it can bleed. You really don't want it to bleed at all. See how close I can get you to this without getting the camera wet. No wet camera. Okay. I think I got enough room here. And we are going to continue spraying this. So sometimes this can take, just good. Like depending on how much dye movement you want is really how long it's all going to take. So the more dye you put on, the longer this will take. And say you just do a simple pattern that doesn't have a whole bunch of folds in it, and you're not trying to get a whole lot of color, you want quite a bit of white in there, you can stop at any point in time. There is no set rule as to how much you have to put on here. That is all up to you. And if you are using the hot water irrigation method, once you're done, I usually still let it sit for a little bit, and so that it can batch. Like if you want, you can wash it out instantly, but I do like to let it sit for a little bit, let those colors kind of develop in there. So which is why I am mist dyeing right now with just room temperature water. We are going to let this sit until tomorrow and then wash this out. But it's possible that I may even have to flip this over. So I can still see quite a bit of black, still see quite a bit of soda ash here. We're going to start adding quite a bit of water here. Make sure it all seeps in good. We want to get all of our layers. And I don't really want to flip it over and dye the other side. Just more work. But I may have to, so we'll just have to see. And you can, if you decide to flip it over and dye it the other side, you can dye it the same. You can dye it different. There's no rules. Once again, there are no rules, except there are a few. If you want something to look good and look correct, one of those is use Procion dye, which is what we're using here, fiber reactive dye. Use soda ash. Always use soda ash. And then water, of course. And then make sure you're batching for the appropriate amount of time. Oh, this is that pile I dumped on there. Got it. So you see how most of our stuff has dissolved everywhere, but not so much right there. A little too much. And same with here, right here in the black. So we can let a little bit out. You can see how it kind of made it bleed. A little bit here too. Yeah, you don't want to put too much. You'll kind of get a feel of what you're doing as you do this longer. This can be a fun way to dye, especially if you're doing hot water irrigation and you're just like, I want to dye something and I want to put it in the wash so that I can wear it later today or tomorrow. You can do that too. There's one reason why I was doing hot water irrigation to begin with. It's like, I need instant gratification now. Show me results. Show me the results. Put them in my hand right now. Yeah, not so much now. Now I can sit and I can wait. And it did not look like wait, that was the red. Violet, really? You say so. Okay, so it looks like we pretty much dissolved most of this side. See how some of it has not dissolved, but once you get to a point where it is dissolved pretty much everywhere and you still got, it is a clump. Like, look at that. I just pulled that off like it was gross. Okay, so we're actually just going to take those clumps off. We're going to go one little last run of water here. And we're going to flip it over and look at the other side. This is how we determine whether or not we need to dye this other side. Okay, so see that? See how we've got stuff missing? So we want to put dye into those. So I'm going to go ahead, bring the dye back, and we're going to put dye on this side. But this side does not need as much. Okay, so you can go much, much lighter. Just going to go right here. Don't need nearly as much, as we have mostly dyed this. Okay, and then let's see. So here we are out of yellow too. Well, I have yellow. I got yellow over here. It's fine. This yellow is not mixed with soda ash, but there is enough. Oh yeah, that was one thing I didn't do. So if you did not prep it in soda ash, make sure you reapply more on this side. Always soda ash. Without the soda ash, you're going to get a very light product, so it will not dye properly. Okay, so we got pure dye powder here. It is not mixed with soda ash. Soda ash definitely helps save your dye, so you don't use as much. I was not quite expecting to run out, but whatever, it happens. We're just winging it today. I've been painting all day. I painted some shirts in a style I've never done before with spray paint, and I absolutely love how they turned out. So one of them was made just for me. It was the first one, and because there was a time I used to do hydro dipping, where you would paint on top of water. Oh, that's right. I don't have any more turquoise either here. So yeah, you would paint on top of water. Let's see if this blue works. And then you would dip your item into the water, and it would essentially paint your item. And so I was doing it with the shirt. I dipped the shirt, and hardly any of the paint stuck to it. It had dried before I got to it. It did not look good at all whatsoever. I just instantly crinkled the shirt up, squeezed the water out, threw it over to the side, and I was like, well, that was a waste. And then I went, I guess I can't make this shirt any worse. So I just decided to start painting on it. And I was like, this can't get any worse than it was. Just paint. Just paint, do whatever. Make it look cool. And so I painted it. And it looks cool. There's a couple spots where there's like stray paint from the hydro dip that stuck to it that looks a little dirty, but it's cool. I don't care. It is a work of art. It's a masterpiece. And I made it and I love it. And that is all that matters. Just like, excuse me, just like with the tie-dye. Doesn't matter what anybody thinks. If you're making something for you, all that matters is what you care about your tie-dye and your piece. This is a reflection of you and your colorful self. And I should have put colors out here while I was doing this, but I was not paying attention. Sometimes I'll just get talking, and you know how it goes. You just get going into the motion, and you're like, what was I talking about? I don't know. Someone remind me. All right, so I'll put a little bit on here. I'm matching the two sides. We are making a shirt that I feel like making just because I feel like making this. And I feel like making videos to show all of you how to make your own as well. Because it is fun. Tie-dye is fun. Art is fun. Making things is fun. Sometimes. Sometimes making things is a hassle. But playing with color and just doing cool stuff, and mixing colors, and overlapping colors, and just seeing what colors do when they interact with each other, that's all fun in itself. Like this. That's how I figure out how a lot of this color works. I knew color, I understood color, but I did not understand it on the level that I do now since I started tie-dyeing. And I've learned that dye and paint do not work the same, although some do, some don't. Same with inks. It's just, and then light. You got light color. Color of light, that's a whole nother thing in itself right there. It's the opposite of this kind of color. Okay, so we have now put dye all over the whole thing on this side, and time to spray it again. So we're just going to give good healthy dose over here. Our shirt is still thirsty, needs some water. We just poured desert all over it, colorful desert, dried it all up. We got the rainbow desert here. We're just going to keep on misting this. Yeah, if you're using hot water irrigation at this point, so if you have, before you add water, make sure your water is up to temperature at this point too. When you flip over, you do want that hot water for both sides of this. But for us, for this today, we are just mist dyeing at room temperature water. So we don't need to worry about that. We're going to let it sit until tomorrow. I'm actually going to take this home, and I have something that I put all my dyes in that reaches 130 degrees and heats them all up so that they are ready to wash out in the morning. So maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. I may not wash these out tomorrow because I got this ice dye over here that I recorded alongside with this. And I will be putting both of these videos out. They're both tied the same, but they are dyed different. And they will be going out at the same time as my how to tie-dye video that I just redid, going over the whole process. Now that I've had my channel for a year, I've kind of, I don't know, got some things figured out. I've had over 50 videos now, and we are at 1,150 subscribers earlier today or yesterday. And I am at almost 4,000 watch hours. And so uh, all of you are watching. I appreciate you watching. So thank you for doing that and giving me the views and for subscribing as well. So be sure to hit that like and subscribe, and check out all my other videos. I plan on making quite a bit, and I may even start making videos from some of the other artwork I do. I am not just a tie-dye artist. I am an artist. I work with many different mediums. I just like to work with color. I like to wear color, and for the longest time I was just wearing black everything. Everything was black until I started coloring things myself. I did not quite care for many of the designs that were on clothing for the longest time growing up. I did like some, but not all. And some of the things that I did like were kind of expensive. And so, if you can't afford something expensive, make it yourself. That's why I started tie-dyeing. I like the expensive tie-dyes. I can't necessarily afford them, so I make them and I sell them. So yeah, and I also teach people how to tie-dye. It's not just for people who know how, it is for everybody. So I hope these videos help. I hope you are able to learn more and broaden your artistic skills, and hopefully bring some color into your life or others. This is just what this does. Brighten up the world. We don't need to be gray and drab and all dressed in khaki and camo and browns and looking like dirt. I mean, it's cool if you want to. You can even get like all different colors of browns and stuff into your tie-dye. Like I have terracotta over here that I use. I did not use in this. That makes some cool natural colors and stuff. There's definitely ways to make natural colors in tie-dye. I really think everybody can wear tie-dye. Even if you don't think you're a tie-dye person, there's a tie-dye for you. You just got to find the right colors and the right pattern. Me, I use all the colors. All these colors in here I use on all my shirts. Just whatever. Make all the colors. And some days I don't feel like wearing all color, but for a good portion, I'm pretty colorful. Okay, so we are pretty much done with this. I can see it bleeding now. It is pretty much done absorbing. So this is now going to sit until tomorrow, and then we'll wash it out. If you are using the hot water irrigation method and you heated your water up to 160, you can now wash this out if you want. Before you start rinsing, you're going to want to fill up a bucket with hot water and some blue dish soap. So we're just going to let this fill up most of the way. It's about 2 gallons. So I'm going to get most of the way full. I can fit about 3 shirts or so in here. Not a whole lot, but I'm not rinsing a whole lot right now. But always rinse out, or always make the bucket to soak your shirt. We're going to soak the shirt for about 15 to 20 minutes in this. And this is the hottest water that my faucet will get. I'm probably good right there. I'm just going to put some dish soap. Not too much. Need enough for it to suds up, but not too much, because then your washing machine can't handle it. So the more you put in, the more you're gonna have to rinse out. Okay, so now that that's ready, for rinsing, you're gonna get a lot of different answers on what temperature to rinse at, whether to use hot water first or cold water first. So I am using cold water here. The reason for cold water is cold water um, will stop any reaction that's happening. So since we did mist dyeing, but if you did the hot water irrigation, you can actually do hot water if you want. What ends up happening, like the whole reason for hot water irrigation in the first place, is once hot water, soda ash, and dye powder all mix on the shirt, if the temperature is hot enough, it will dye instantly. So when you're rinsing, if you still have soda ash and dye on here, and you use hot water to rinse, it may stain some areas and back dye in places where you don't want it to dye. So you'll want to, so I typically rinse with cold water just so that doesn't happen. But if you're wanting to continue with the same flow that you've got to, and you just want to use hot water, or if you've been you can even rinse with your sprayer. If you just keep rinsing and keep rinsing with the hot water and just keep rinsing, you just keep on going if you want, and until it rinses clear. There's just multiple methods that you can do. The goal is just really to get all of the dye out, and then you want all the soda ash out quickly too. That way you don't get too much back staining. So that's why I rinse with the cold. And then I'm going to squeeze some of this out, pull the rubber bands off. And then after we open this, still going to rinse with cold water. And then we'll switch over to hot water. So open up our pattern here. You can see here is our pleated pattern. And then we've got our rainbow pattern, our rainbow scrunch out here. Go ahead and open this up. And hit it good with the water. Make sure to get everywhere because there's definitely dye hiding in the seams around the neck collar. And if you don't rinse well, this can end up turning really muddy. So you want to just make sure you got all your dye. Move quickly, but not too quick. You know, take your time. Just there's a right speed. Kind of quick, not too quick. Just the right quickness. Okay, so now we can shift over to hot water. So now I'm on hot water, and we're going to finish rinsing this on hot. You want to make sure to get everywhere. Get it twice, 2 times, 3 times, get it a bunch of times. Just make sure you get it well. Anything that you miss could potentially stain, and it could stain your other clothes too, so you want to make sure to get as much of it as possible. You won't be able to get it all here, but you'll be able to get most of it. And then during the soak as well, the last little bit will come out. Like reds kind of take longer sometimes too. As you can see, there's still a bit of red coming out from under here. Make sure we get over on this side too. Now we're going to give this a good squeeze. It is a little hot, so don't burn yourself. Don't twist too far, you don't want to tear it. Now we're going to let this sit in our hot water and soap for about 15 to 20 minutes. All right, so now that this has sat for about 20 minutes, we're going to rinse out that extra soapy water. I'm going to get the soap out of this real quick. The reason you want to rinse this soap out is your washing machine is not capable of handling the suds that come from dish soap. So laundry soap doesn't sud up like this, but laundry soap also won't get the dye out on its own. So we need to soak in this dish soap. This releases most of the dye, and then we rinse out this dish soap, and then we put it in the washing machine. So that one is mostly rinsed. We'll work on this one here. This one here is ice dyed, and that one is mist dyed. I do have a video on how to make both of these. This portion of the video is on both videos, so if you want to see how to make the other, they are both dyed the same, they are both dyed different. So if you just want to see the difference in how the color works, go ahead and check out that other video. But now at this point, we're pretty much rinsed out. So now you can wash these in the washing machine. So what you're going to do is just a regular wash cycle with regular laundry detergent. And then once it's done, you can dry it in the dryer if you want, or you can air dry, or you can hang dry. It's really a preference on however you treat your clothing normally. And then if you look at the tag of your clothes, where the tag is, should be right here. So just read your tags. I know you probably can't read that on the screen, but read your tags here. The tags will tell you how to wash the clothes. So the dye itself is permanent. You're not going to get the dye out now. Just don't use any bleach on it. So just wash your clothes however the manufacturer says. Now we are going to put these into the wash, and then I will go over them after they are finished. Okay, so our shirt is now washed and dried. We're going to go over this just a little bit. So you can see right here down the center, this was our pleated pattern. And so we did a gradient from red up to purple up here, up to violet. And so by dyeing it, we didn't quite dye it the same on the two sides. As you can see, every other line is going to be the top or the bottom. So most of this was the same, but then you can see how in the middle some was different, but that kind of adds to the gradient, gives it a nice little effect, because then we actually get some greens and some purples next to each other without quite as much brown. We might have a little bit of brown in here, but not too much, just a little. And then our black line that separated the pleat from the scrunch. And then on our scrunch, we did a gradient with the yellow starting out, going out to orange. And you can see how it sort of has like a watercolor effect. It's not as full of a color as you would with liquid dye. You get kind of more movement with the color, but not quite as much movement as you would with ice dyeing. So the mist dyeing and the hot water irrigation dyeing, they kind of give a nice little unique effect on its own. And with being able to finish this in an hour, if you did this with hot water irrigation, and then being able to stick it into the wash after that. So we'll flip it over so you can see the back side too, and see how we have the same image on the left side, my left side, your right side, to the other side. And then So at the very beginning, one of the reasons why I say it's so important to make sure you get all your wrinkles out and it's flat is so that this line right here is straight, because if you don't get your shirt lined up straight, this line will actually go off one way or the other. So always make sure you're nice and flat and smooth before you even start to fold, and then you'll have the same image on this side of the shirt as you do on this side of the shirt. And then the back side of the shirt will also be the same as the front of the shirt. Please be sure to click that like and subscribe. My name is Nate. Thank you for watching.